Hey guys, my name is Jonathan Henderson. I'm the owner and founder of Pressure Washing Marketing Pros. And if you guys are on our channel, we talk all things marketing when it comes to your pressure washing business. So if you want to stay up to date on our videos, go ahead and subscribe. But without further ado, I want to talk about the 3 marketing lessons that I learned from the 2020 pandemic and crisis, right? Because a lot of our clients, as you guys know, we work with countless pressure washing businesses. A lot of them actually had either their best year this year or they did better than they did in previous years, right? So with that being said, I want to go ahead and give you guys these 3 marketing lessons so that you guys can take this going into 2021 and crush it, right? And the first point I want to make that I learned, and I didn't know the extent of it, was that people will always need exterior cleaning, right? We think that sometimes. We think that of course people need exterior cleaning, but we always viewed it as if a pandemic came, such as the one that happened this year, that people might put that on the back burner when actually the opposite effect had happened, right? Because we saw a lot of people working from home at that point. And so, you know, the Miss Nancys of the world, the Miss Graces of the world, they were looking around their home and they're saying, man, my driveway's dirty. The siding of my house looks terrible, right? People still needed to sell homes during this time period as well. They may have been a little bit reluctant, but still, you know, things were still happening. Things still had to go on, right? And so with that being said, people still invested into exterior cleaning services, which is why you guys should know now going forward that your guys' service will always be in demand no matter what. And even if people are working from home, even if they're not at their job, it gives them more time to think about it, right? It gives them way more time to think about it. Commercial buildings are always going to need home maintenance or building maintenance, as you guys know. So property managers are always going to look for that. I mean, for my apartments right now, when I was at my apartments, we actually had a pressure washing company during the pandemic clean the HOAs just because of the COVID-19 things, as well as just keeping the apartments, you know, pristine and clean. So you guys will always be in business. You guys will always, you know, no matter what the pandemic or crisis is, you guys will be in business. You guys, you know, like I said, people always need exterior cleaning services. Now, the second point I want to bring up as well is going to be never stop marketing. That's, if you take anything from this video, this is the one that you guys really need to take heed to, is never stop marketing, right? Because my clients that did the best, even had their best years, they did not stop marketing. And so what ended up happening is when the COVID-19 crisis, you know, took place, a lot of businesses said, you know what, we're gonna turn off all marketing at this point, right? We're gonna turn off all marketing. We're gonna try to save our money because we don't know what's gonna happen going forward. But just like the point I just brought up previously, a lot of people were still at home, and as you know, they were looking at home projects thinking, what do I need to get cleaned? And guess what? If you turned off all your marketing, you were not visible in front of those people so that those people could go ahead and find you and your services. And so those businesses that never stopped marketing during this pandemic, guess what? They were visible at that time. They got those customers and you didn't because you stopped marketing. So always continuously market all the time, because like I said, a lot of businesses stop marketing and look at where they're at now. One of my business coaches always taught me, they said, Jonathan, whatever you do right now affects your business 3 months from now in terms of sales, right? So whatever kind of sales actions I take, I may not reap the benefits right here and there, but down the road in 3 months from now, I will. And so those businesses that put themselves in front, the businesses that never stopped marketing during the crisis, guess what? They got the customers, they were visible to them, and their business never really took a step back, right? So that's what you guys always need to know. And as you know, those people were at home, so therefore they were visible. Also, another thing too is the algorithm, right? So, you know, I'm specifically even talking about Google. So Google, even when it comes to Google Ads, it has an algorithm, you know, based off of how much you bid, based off your ad history in terms of conversions, right? So Google can calculate how much somebody spends, you know, how much, you know, how well they convert on their ad campaigns. And so a lot of pressure washing business owners just think that Google Ads and SEO and things are just things that you can just turn on and off, when that is not the case. You need to continuously be feeding Google that information, right? Because if you turn your Google Ads off for an extended period of time, you know, once you turn them back on, Google has to get, you know, they have to figure out things with their campaign again, because maybe other, you know, businesses started marketing on Google as well. So they have to relearn your your ads again, which can mess up the algorithm. It's like the wintertime when you heat up a car, right? Whenever you start your car, you have to warm it up first before you take it off, right? But once it's taken off, it's good. So that's the same thing with your marketing, right? Don't mess up the algorithms. If something is working, if something is going well, don't turn it off. Keep it going, right? You know, don't fix what's not broken. That's what a lot of people did, and they suffered from that. Even my own clients, they turn off their ads, and I'm like, and then 3 to 4 weeks later, they turn them back on. And, you know, it took Google like 3 or 4 days, even sometimes a week, to really relearn them again so that they can convert at what they were previously converting at. So that's one thing. If there's anything that you need to do when it comes to your marketing and you end up in a situation where it's like, oh man, I don't know what it's going to be like going forward for my pockets or our budget, reduce the budget, you know, reduce what you're doing at that point, but don't completely turn it and snip it off. That's one thing that this pandemic, you know, taught me when it came to my clients, is that the ones that did the best, the ones that crushed it this year and even had their best years, they continuously marketed, you know, and they never stopped marketing. And that brings me to my third and final point, which is do not rely on one stream of marketing, because that is a death sentence, right? That is a death sentence. Do not rely on one source of marketing. So I hear a lot of people say, well, I get good word of mouth. Word of mouth is not necessarily a form of marketing, right? What happens if somebody doesn't refer your business? Guess what? You're out of business at that point, you know? And so the best businesses, the businesses that killed it this year, the businesses that continuously thrive, and even without the 2020 crisis, whether it be the winter time, whether it be any time period, right? These are the businesses that do not rely on one stream of marketing. Because as you know, what I saw, especially when COVID had first hit, is that the demand for exterior cleaning services on Google, especially in March of 2020, the demand of exterior cleaning services on Google actually took a hit, right? But people were still looking up these services because I had a lot of clients that were doing direct mails, they were doing yard signs, they were doing deals, they were using various other methods as well, and even somewhat Facebook ads, because you're putting the demand in front of people's faces at that point, right? You're putting the demand in people's faces. So like I said, do not rely on one stream of marketing. I hear a lot of businesses say that. They're like, well, I only do yard signs, I only do direct mail. Well, how is somebody going to go ahead and find you online if they're Googling it, right? And if you only use Google, like for a lot of my clients, sometimes they only use us for their only avenue of marketing. If Google goes out of business, how else are you going to go ahead and get leads, right? And so that's one thing. But on the cross hand of that, you shouldn't be doing 8 to 10 things if you haven't mastered them. But what you need to do is, once you master one way of getting and generating leads, you need to find another source on how to master it. So if you've mastered, you know, getting leads from Google, go ahead and move to something like, maybe like I said, like doing a direct mail to property managers, or doing, you know, a campaign when it comes to yard signs, right? And posting those out at different areas and maybe retargeting those people on Facebook. But like I said, do not rely on one source of marketing, because of my clients that killed it during COVID, you know, when the demand on Google kind of took that hit in March, which don't get me wrong, you know, in April, May, June, July, it crushed it again, right? It went back to normal. But in March, a lot of people were panicking. But my clients that did well, they were still sending out direct mail. They were still doing yard signs. They were still networking. They were still doing various things, you know, throwing things at the wall even, such as that, you know, to go ahead and drum up those leads. So like I said, in conclusion, right? The first point is, people, what I've learned in the 2020 crisis is that people will always need exterior cleaning, right? They're going to be at home. Buildings wither away, you know, homes and roofs get dirty as well. That's just a fact, the weather, right? So that's one thing like I learned. Second thing is, never stop marketing. You know, never stop marketing. Reduce your budget if you're, you know, if you may not have the money, but do not stop marketing. That's just going to dig yourself in a bigger hole, right? Because other competitors are going to be marketing, other people are going to be visible to you, and those people are going to be taking your customers as well. So put yourself in the game. You can't, you know, you can't score points if you're not in the game, right? The third is, do not rely on one stream of marketing, right? Whether that be Google, whether that be Facebook, whether that be, you know, like I said, I don't believe word of mouth is a marketing method. You know, it shows that you're a good business, but don't rely on one source of getting leads. Don't rely on one source of getting customers, right? So with that being said, I hope this video provided you guys value. If you guys need any help on your marketing, right? You can go ahead and click the link below where it's PW Marketing Pro / free strategy call, and I will break down your business on a 30-minute call so that we can see the game plan of what you should do going forward for your pressure washing business, right? So like I said, the link is below. But other than that though, I hope to see you guys on the next video and keep crushing it. Let's go ahead and bring in the new year in 2021 and let's kill it. All right, I'll talk to you guys later.